Hello, beautiful boss babes. Are you ready to chase life with Kelly? Well, I'm your host, Kelly Chase, and I'm so excited you're here. We are going to talk about all things love, dating, relationships, money mindset. We're going to dive deep into self-love, worthiness. I am going to bring on some incredibly empowering guests. We're going to have fun, we're going to laugh, and perhaps we're even going to shed some tears together. I am here to empower you, inspire you, and motivate you to create the life you crave. I am so excited for today's episode. Let's dive in. Hello, babes. Welcome back to the show. So I got a really cool guest on the show with us today. It is actually my mother. She's making her Chase Life with Kelly podcast debut. So I'm so excited to welcome her to the show. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Kelly. Hi, ladies.
We may have some male listeners too, so let's not forget
and gents.
Them. I know. I say babes because everybody is a babe in my world. Okay, so I brought my mom on. We're actually here I'm here at my parents' house because it is Father's Day, so we've been celebrating Father's Day, and I was like, you know what, I gotta create an episode, and I was like, maybe getting my parents on the podcast, that would be like super fun. Dad's enjoying outside time, so I was like, let's go ahead, and Mom just volunteered herself for this, so I'm excited. But anyways, okay, so I wanted to get into a couple of things. Let's see. First off, I know that I recently launched like a health coaching program, and I've been enrolling a lot of ladies into that program. One, if you have not joined, would love to still hold space for you. We have a handful of spots left. We are capping it though, probably around 50 members, and we are nearing that. So spaces are limited. If you are struggling with weight loss, weight gain, body image, confidence, just not feeling great about yourself right now, and really struggling on trying to figure out like what you should be eating, what you should not be eating. I think that's half the battle, is all of the confusing information out there, that we're always consuming from, whether it's social media or TV, something, or magazines that we're reading, social media in general. It's like, oh, this person's saying this and this person's saying that. Like, what is it? So, I think that we all want to be living more free in what we do. I struggle with that myself, and I have for a while now, because I'm always going to be honest about that, but I have figured out, due to my own journey, the concept of reverse dieting. And I know that I've explained that to y'all as well on a previous episode, but again, for anyone that is newly listening, reverse dieting is actually like you're already eating in a caloric deficit, and you actually start eating more food, because you eating at a caloric deficit, if you were, my like general rule of thumb is like, if you're under 100, or no, if you weigh more than 110 pounds, and you're like, you should be eating more than 1,200 calories a day. Because that's kind of where I was. I'm a very petite person. It's 110 pounds. And I started going into a caloric deficit when I didn't need to be in a caloric deficit. I did lose weight to begin with, but weight I didn't need to lose. I saw 99 pounds on the scale, and that freaked everyone out. So including myself, and very much including my mom. So, then I started gaining a bunch of weight, and I had gained like 30, 40 pounds. I was just a ball of cortisol, more or less, because I was putting so much stress on my body. But with that being said, reverse dieting, I started eating more food, actually working out less, and I started to lose the weight. So that giving me more flexibility and freedom with the food choices that I was making. And I want to reiterate that and stress that, because it's so important. I know a lot of y'all don't eat enough throughout the day. You maybe skip breakfast, or you eat like a granola bar, and then you do a milk, a protein shake for lunch, or a salad. And then you maybe have like a piece of chicken for dinner or something like that. And like, you're not eating enough food, and you're wondering why you're not losing weight, and you're gaining weight, or you're just at this plateau. And it's, I do strongly believe a lot of us are just really starving ourselves, and we're very much malnourished. And anyway, so if you have not joined the health coaching and you want to learn more about that, go to the link here in the show notes. You can also send me a message on Instagram and we can get you to join the wait list and apply and all that. But with that being said, my mom is actually a health coach. Okay. She actually went through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition before I did, 2 years before, but my mom has been a health nut her entire life. So, so I wanted to touch on that and kind of maybe hear what your thoughts are on what I just said, for one, knowing what I went through. But also, I wanted to ask you too, how health has been a huge part of your life and why also. Okay. So let's start with the first part. What are your thoughts on what I just said?
Well, I saw the results with with how you were starving yourself basically. And then you started gaining crazy amounts of weight and had a lot of issues from that. But then I saw that you started eating more and more food. I always say Kelly, she eats like a truck driver. No offense, but
that was before this all happened.
Yeah. And, but now
I still eat like a truck driver.
No, you do. She consumes a lot of food, but it's all good food. It's all nutritionally sound. And what I mean by that is, if you're not getting the proper nutrients and your body doesn't recognize what you're eating, then it can't utilize what you're eating. So you store it as fat. So the rule in this house, although we're not 100% because, we live life, try not to eat processed foods, packaged foods. If it comes out of a package, a can, or a box, it's probably got too many chemicals in it, unless you're eating more products that are organic. And even organic has things in it that aren't necessarily the best. Like case in point, like a cracker. Sometimes crackers have vegetable oils in them, and they're not really the best for us. So, do I eat a cracker? Sure. Do I eat, a cheese on a cracker? Yes. Do I drink a glass of wine here and there? Of course. I'm a human being and I, like that kind of stuff. And I think there's a balance that we all have to find. And what is your balance is going to be up to you to find with the help of Kelly, because Kelly really knows what she's talking about. And, she was raised this way. She asked why I always, looked out for being healthy. But I think since I've been a young girl, I was very active. I was a cheerleader in high school. I was a baton twirler. I was in dance. I mean, I just was a very active person. And when I started gaining weight, I had 3 brothers that were like, saying derogatory things to me about gaining weight. And I was like, oh my gosh, but I wasn't gaining weight. I was developing. I was growing into a young woman and my brothers were freaking out. And, truth be told, so did I, because I didn't know what the heck was going on because I was a young girl developing and my brothers were like, ah. So anyway, I started trying to eat healthy and diet like all women do, which is really not the best thing. I mean, cutting back calories, if you're cutting back good calories, then that's not a good thing. And, counting calories and counting carbs and doing all this stuff, I sort of gave that up. I was like, listen, just eat balanced meals and nutritionally sound. Get your macronutrients and your micronutrients. And some of you may not know what that even means. And that's where Kelly comes in as a health coach, and she can help you with that. The other thing is my oldest daughter was not, had some episodes, and we had gone to a holistic doctor, and that really got me on the path that, he basically told me that if you don't clean up your diet, it's never going to get better. And that was 36 years ago. And we've lived that way always. And we practice homeopathy, which is type of alternative medicine. And we've done all right. I mean, when we have colds, we try to treat it as holistically as possible. And if that doesn't work, you can always go to conventional therapies, but we try a more natural approach. So, I'm 65 years old now, and I'm grateful that, I'm here and I'm pretty healthy, knock wood. And I'm going to continue on that path to try to eat the best that I can eat and the best quality food that I can purchase. And, some people actually can't financially afford everything organic. And I get that too, but there's a dirty dozen list and a clean 15. And the dirty dozen, if you don't eat anything else organically, you should definitely not eat off the dirty dozen. If it's like strawberries, for example, strawberries are really inundated with pesticides, and no one should be eating a conventional strawberry, in my opinion. And then there's a list of them that we probably should stay clear of. And then the clean 15, like an avocado. If you don't eat an organic avocado because of the hard shell on it, you're not going to eat the skin. So you can get away with it there. Right. So there's a few things, but, hopefully that will give you a starting ground to check the clean 15 and the dirty dozen. And if nothing else, try to focus on eating that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was good. Thank you. Yeah. I was going to say too, like it's, somewhat unheard of, I think, in today's society where people, well, let's put it this way, my parents, they're 65, 68 years old, and they're not on prescription medication. And I think that is wildly unheard of in today's society. There are a lot of whether it's your parents, friends that whatever, someone has a prescription drug sitting on their counter, in their purse, on their bathroom counter, wherever. And, whether it is, for cholesterol or heart, a heart condition or
high blood pressure,
something, or an antidepressant, anything, anti-anxiety medicine, something like that. And I'm not saying that we don't struggle with things, because my mom actually does have high cholesterol. It is in her genes. She has tried to, my mom eats better than anyone besides me now that I know. And it's like, okay, my parents did a whole year of eating completely organic, going completely vegan.
Yes.
Completely vegan. We have been vegetarians in the past before. We have a journey. We've experimented. Let's put it that way. We've experimented with a lot of different approaches to health, and just trying to see what works best for us, because no one diet works for everyone. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, it's neat though, because could be coincidence. Sure. Could be coincidence that we cleaned up our diet 30 years ago and my sister never had a seizure. Who knows? But we do attribute the fact that my parents are not on prescription medication, or not consistently. Let's put it that way. Maybe you have to, like you were just saying, we're not totally against conventional Western medicine. We do take it. If I've had bronchitis, or feel like I'm dying because I have a cold and it's ongoing for more than 2 to 3 weeks, I'm like, give me a Z-Pack. I need it. Kick this shit out of my body. I don't like pain. I don't like to suffer. So, right. I don't want to just sit there and eat garlic and green juices until it goes away. At some point, let's get the real, that stuff in there. But I just think it's neat that, I just feel like it's a testament to us and our approach to living more holistically and having that holistic lifestyle, how it has really affected us and helped us, just have a better, outlook on life 360 as well. Cause I think all that we do, what my mom has studied, what I have studied, and we don't just mean in the fitness and nutrition space. Mindset around money, mindset around relationships, career, business, all of that. I feel like we look at everything from a very big, 360-degree view. And therefore we kind of take a step back sometime and can reevaluate the situation at hand and make more holistic decisions on things. So,
and it doesn't matter what you're eating. If your mind is not in the right place and your spirituality isn't in the right place for you, then it doesn't matter what you put in your body, because the stress is already there.
Right.
So you have to honor that too. You have to focus on a lot of different components that make up the human spirit. And I think that by doing that, are we perfect? Heck no. But we try very, very hard. And, have we suffered some illnesses along the way? Sure. But we try to be as, like I said, as holistic as possible. Try to keep the stress down. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
In this society today, you turn on the TV, it's horrible. Everything's going on at once and you're sitting there going, oh my gosh, but You still have to be able to kind of balance it, find your place in that. And when it gets to be too much, know when to walk away. And right. I think that's a lot of, what we have to do.
Yeah.
And, I was diagnosed with anxiety years and years ago, and it was caused by my menstrual cycle. And I had horrible PMS. And I would go to the doctor and I'd say, if I was my husband, I would have divorced my butt a long time ago because I was a horror to be around. And I did take an anti-anxiety medication for a long, long time. But then I realized that it wasn't serving me anymore. So I came off of it. And this was in my holistic journey. But nothing else was working for me at the time. So I kind of caved and took the conventional medicine for a long time. I'm talking like 9 years. But then I realized that, the stresses in life, we have to get through it. You can take a Band-Aid and you can cover it up and you can have lower emotions because of the medication. But for me, it was like, I'm ready to, try to handle my life the best that I can. That's the journey. It's all ups and downs. And nobody's going to go away with it. Like I was telling Kelly last night, nobody's life is perfect. Nobody's. And if you're looking for that perfect life, I think you're going to have a hard time finding it. But are there perfect moments? Absolutely. And cherish them.
Yeah. Gratitude. Well, that's what I tell, I share that often, here and with the girls that I'm coaching right now. It's like gratitude. It just really brings you back to the present moment. And I feel like, if you do struggle, like Mom was saying about like with anxiety, and I go through it too. Literally 20 minutes ago, I was having a fit down by the pool with my mom. I was like, I'm sorry. I'm just like venting and I'm like dumping. I just feel like I have like so much to do and all these things. And I'm just like I could feel myself. I'm like, do I need to like take a gummy or something? Like I need to like chill the F out. Like I was like, Kelly needs to like just calm down. Like I get it too. I get very flustered. I have a lot of things going on. I work full time. I'm running a business. I have the podcast. I'm doing content creation. I'm doing a lot. And there are times I want to wave the white flag and just be like, God, please send me a very rich man because I just want to not do anything anymore right now. But it's things like this. Like once I'm in it, and I know I literally just said this on a recent podcast, like once I'm in it, it's like, I love talking about these types of things. So I'm in my light, I'm in my passion. And when I'm doing it, it's great, but sometimes it does feel like, oh my God, like the thought of the to-do list that I have a lot to do, it heightens my anxiety a lot. And then, granted, I'm going through other things that stresses me out. But once I can bring myself to a present moment, whether that's through meditation or just sitting like on the grass or just sitting outside and just like looking at a flower, right? And just noticing the intricate details on a flower or a leaf or something, or just a blade of grass, like literally take yourself to a present moment. And those are ways that you can do that. So it really can help your anxiety simmer a bit. Or get on a podcast and start talking about things. And now I'm present because of this.
And that's my dog barking in the background. I apologize for that.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, no, it's fine. But no, that's great. No, I love that. What would you say? So I know that there's a lot of girls out there, a lot of women in particular, who they struggle with the fact, with that concept. And maybe again, it's different because, my mom and I are different, but to speak to the fact of like women eating less food, but being scared to eat more, what would you suggest to them? Like if someone were to come to you and be like, I'm only eating 600 calories a day and I would, and I'm 180 pounds, what would you say to them? How would you coach them through the mindset of that?
I would have to find out why they feel that they can only eat 600 calories a day.
There you go.
Because there's a reason. There's a reason why they're saying that they can only eat 600 calories a day, because they're already freaked out because they already weigh what they weigh. And they're frightened that if they keep eating more calories, that they're going to keep gaining weight. Now, to get back to the calorie thing, if they're sitting there eating Snicker bars and ding dongs, they're going to gain weight because that's going to store as fat because your body cannot recognize that. And sugar is inflammatory, and anything that causes inflammation is probably not a good thing. Now, does that say you never can have anything sweet? Of course not. But if you're going to eat something sweet, eat something that's a good sweet, like something made with honey, something made with coconut sugar, something maybe with maple syrup. There's lots and lots of recipes out there, and I'm a guru at that. So if you ever want any information, tell Kelly, hey, hook me up with your mom so I can give you some recipes on how to make things that are a little bit more healthier for you. But the question was, how do I get that person to change their mindset that it is okay for me to eat a little bit more food? And that was where I would come in and say, well, we're going to experiment with food. We're going to start with eating some more greens. Well, what do you mean? What do you mean by greens? I'm like talking like kale, arugula, spinach, broccoli, lacento kale, dandelion greens, and maybe turn them on to starting their day in a smoothie, because a lot of people don't want to eat greens. So if you put it in a blender with a banana and a date and some chia seeds or hemp seeds, a little bit of cacao, so because that moves it into the bloodstream faster. I mean, there are so many different things that they can do to get that in them. Mm-hmm. And, not everybody wants to sit there and chew kale. Get it. So, and so I would start with that. And then maybe they would come back and say, you know what? I never ate kale before. I kind of like kale. What can I do with it? Then I might introduce them into the Glorious Greens, which is a cookbook all about greens and what you do with them. And then if they come back and say, you know what, still don't like greens, don't want to eat them, then maybe I'd introduce them to some green powder, which they can put in a blender. That way they don't have to buy the greens. There's an expense in all of this. And I get that too. So, but if you walk down the grocery aisle and you go down the produce aisle, I had a client one time, and she was 40 something years old and she didn't know what to buy. And I said, well, we'll go and shop. And I took her to the grocery store and I said, okay, what's on your list? And I said, because there's no reason for us to go to the middle of the store unless you need napkins and toilet paper. And she looked at me like I was nuts. and I took her to the produce department and I said, okay. And I picked up a bag of broccoli and I said, what's in this? And she goes, what do you mean? What's in this? I go, what are the ingredients in this? And she
like, trick question.
Yeah. She was like, broccoli. And I go, bingo, put it in your cart. There's one ingredient in broccoli. That's it. And I said an organic broccoli would probably be a better choice, but financially this person was unable to do that. And I said, you know what? We're starting. Put the broccoli in your cart. And that's how we started. And she just added to that. And she was very successful. She lost weight. She got her mindset in a better place. And this woman was going through a divorce. I mean, her house burnt down. I mean, there was a lot of crap going on in her life, but she had to sort through that and get the diet working with the mind. Yeah. Does that make sense? So yeah, that's what I would start. I would start introducing ways, because most people just don't know what to do with them.
Right.
Like, okay, I got a bag of kale. What do you want me to do with it now?
Right.
Do I eat it like a, horse? Do I, do I cook it? I mean,
yeah,
it's just, and it's
just lack of education out there that,
right.
Yeah, that we're deprived of. And
hey, when I went to IIN, which is the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, I thought I was eating really healthy. And when I went through that school, I was like, wow, I learned so much and really studied it and got a certificate, and then went back and got my master's equivalent of a master's certificate. And, my husband said, you know what, if you never did anything with the certificate, just the benefit that it will bring to our family would be worth the investment. And that's what we did. Yeah. And it worked. I mean, it worked for us. And both my girls, who are now young women, adults, they both eat pretty healthy, and probably better than I do at times, because I'm also, like I said, I'm 65 years old. Life is short. I want to have a cookie once in a while. If you go to Kelly's house, you're not getting a treat. There's nothing there.
Because I'm a binge eater and it's gone in 5 seconds.
Right. So she doesn't keep it in her house. But when she comes to my house, she's like, oh, you have a little bit of vegan cookies. I could have one of them. And I'm like, well, knock your shorts off. Yeah. So, there's a balance though. And I entertain people in my home, and I want to have something healthy, but something that's not a kale chip every time somebody comes over. So yeah. And what you do 80% of the time and what you do 20% of the time is good enough.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you. Mm-hmm. That's good. Okay. I'm going to change directions here now. Okay. So
trick question.
No, we're totally changing course here. So there's a lot of people on here that listen that could be single like me, that are, whether they're nearing 30, they're nearing 40, they're single in their 40s. I think that's kind of my little majority of my demographic is probably from like 26 to 45. So let's talk about that in the sense of, for me, I want to know, Mom, what are your thoughts on me being single and turning 38 in a month?
What are my thoughts about it?
Yeah.
I think that you are a very special and very unique person. And I think you have enough compassion and kindness and love for the fellow human being. And I think any guy that would date you would be a damn fool if he didn't hang out with you longer than a date. So that's my personal opinion because you're my daughter. And I think that there's a lot of guys out there that have commitment issues. I mean, it seems what it's like. And I got married when I was 22 years old. I've been married almost 43 years to the same man. And not planning on going anywhere. We took those vows to death to us part seriously. And have we had our ups and downs? Absolutely. Are you looking for the person that's going to be there for the long run? Absolutely. Because, like Kelly was joking and she said, I just want to find a man that'll, financially be taking care of me. And I know deep down in her heart, she doesn't really mean that.
Well, no, I do. But while also them being long-term committed and amazing men, I would love that other aspect.
Right. And well, like I tell Kelly, we had this discussion just an hour ago. I said, there's 1% of the population out there that princess, thought pattern absolutely works for. But then there's 99% that are just, regular Joes like the rest of us. And that's okay. I mean, do you really have to think about what you want out of life? Like I wanted to have a family. I mean, I was not a career-driven woman at all. I was a school teacher. I went back to work because I had 2 daughters that I needed to help with the finances of this family. So, I stepped up to the plate and did what I had to do. I have no regrets about that. My kids went to the same school I taught in, and it was a lovely experience, and it all managed and we were fine. But for someone who's going to be 38 years old and single, if she, meaning my daughter, is happy, then I'm happy. Would I like her to meet someone? Of course, every mother wants their daughter to meet someone, but I want him to be a perfect gentleman and be kind and compassionate, as empathetic as Kelly is. And if that person doesn't ever come along, then so be it. And if he does, I'll welcome him with open arms. But right now, he doesn't seem to be knocking down the door.
I know Mom said something yesterday to me. She said something about the guys, and then she was like, or maybe there's just something you're blocking and it's not, maybe you are the problem, Kelly. No. Which is true. I think that, but I do believe that let's put it this way. There was when I went to Colorado last August to go see my friend Jenny, I got on the dating apps out there because I was like, I'm going to be out here for like 11 days. Might as well get on the dating app. And there was a gentleman that I connected with, and he like our conversation was very much like, if you were to look at like my journaling that I've done on like this perfect person, you know, like how they show up, like what they do, and just like how they are and their lifestyle and everything was very, very aligned with mine. And he was very just like, yeah, like, let's have a conversation. Let's, you know, try and meet up and everything. And I think at that point I was coming out of, you know who, and I was like, I'm not there. So there, although it's like I asked for it, sometimes you're not ready to receive it. Right. So then it's like, yeah, that is like a self-sabotage because, oh, I want this. And this person comes in, and granted, yeah, I mean, this was like a couple of conversations back and forth through a dating app, but still it's like, wow, I asked for it. It's here. God's like, well, here it is for you. But I was blocking it because I was like, I wouldn't be able to show up for him the way that he's ready to receive because I couldn't do that.
But you know what? This is just from my own personal experience. If you keep doing that sabotage,
yeah, I'm going to be alone.
You'll wind up being by yourself. And if that's a goal for you,
yeah,
then that's okay. But if it's not a goal for you, and I'm talking about your viewers too. I mean, it's nice to have a partner in life. Yeah. And, you know, I guess because I'm getting older and I see, you know, like, you know, if I'm graced to have a longevity, I mean, I'm 65. If I live here, if I'm alive for another 20 years, I want to make it the best 20 years. I want to be with a partner that supports me and is kind and, you know, we take care of each other. And that's who I have. And I'm very grateful for that. My husband is a wonderful person. And does he have his faults? Absolutely. Do I? Sure. I mean, sometimes do we bump heads? Yeah. Kelly says, oh my God, you're always bickering, you know, but it's not a bickering that, you know, you want to just, you know, walk away. It's just an unsettled time for a moment. And then we move on. And I think when women get to be Kelly's age, they're so used to their own way that it's going to be very hard to find someone who you grow with. I grew with my husband. I was 22 years old. What the heck did I know? But I knew I loved him and I knew I wanted to be with him and I knew that I wanted him to be with me. Mm-hmm. And it worked out. And, you know, and it's really weird because like all of my couple friends that I grew up with at 20 years old are still married to their spouses.
Right.
40 to 43 years.
Yeah. For the most part. Yeah. There's only like one or two, I feel like, of our family friends that, you know, are no longer together, but, you know, you know, and I think that is a beautiful thing. And I know a lot of my friends, even from high school and college, their parents are still together as well. You know, but on the flip side of that, you know, that's a statistic. And then there's another half of that where I talk to women, like I coached a woman a handful of years ago and, you know, she was, you know, I'm just like you were saying that people grow together, but also there are so many people that grow apart, whether you're with that person for 6 months or for 30 years, there is that relationship where you were in love with that person because you were in alignment at the time when you fell in love with them. But in 10 years from now, or 5 years from now, or again, 6 months from now, however long it is that you're with that person, if you're not communicating, keyword, if you're not communicating effectively with each other, you are probably bound to grow apart because you're not staying in alignment with that person that you're with and helping to support each other's individual goals and growth and all of that. So I feel like that's where, you know, some people later on when they're like, yeah, we have nothing in common anymore. We grew apart. And it's like, okay, I do firmly believe, unless they're like, you know, abusive or something, I do firmly believe that you could reset that marriage or reset that relationship and come back to that time when you first were or communicate again. I think there's a lot of fear out there around communicating. I know I have that problem too, but I'm getting better at it. But a lot of the work that I do, whether it's me coaching and just having these like epiphanies while I'm coaching, because I'm like giving people advice that sometimes I should be taking. But, you know, or I'm working with life coaches, I'm working with mindset coaches. I've worked with relationship coaches too. So I am constantly learning techniques and tools that I can, you know, obtain and possess myself. And so when I get in certain situations, I'm like, Kelly, you just need to say it. You just need to communicate the things, and it's not as scary on the other side.
And I think there has to be some wiggle room. Like I told you, when you're in a relationship, you may not understand or agree or whatever, but there's got to be a little wiggle room there. Like, you know what? I don't want my husband going fishing 5 days a week. Because he loves to fish. But you know what? We have a home, we have a house to run and a yard and the whole 9 yards. Well, could you go fishing 3 times a week? That's a compromise. And we're okay with that, and there's wiggle room there.
Yeah.
And it's only because there's other responsibilities, that we both have to attend to, and if we both just said, screw it, we're going to just go do whatever the heck we want to do, then it would be a little bit chaotic. And I'm a very organized person and I can't live in chaos. It just is not me. And my husband is the same way, thank God, because if he wasn't, then there probably would have been a problem a long time ago. But, he's taught me a lot and I've taught him a lot, and we work off of each other. And I think you're right. I think that all the techniques and different coaches that you have been involved in have evolved you.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing. But I also think as you get older, if you keep evolving, how they say, when you're younger, boys don't mature as fast as women do. Well,
right.
I think that goes with age too. I think, like a 38-year-old man and a 38-year-old woman who cannot commit to each other, there's something not right there.
Right.
At 38 years old, you should know what you want. It's really interesting to me because her dad says to me a lot, oh, if Kelly ever meets someone, they'll have to date for 3 years. I'm like, at 38? I'm like, are you nuts? And you know what? Honestly, I say to him, I was like, okay, my husband and I dated for 2 months, broke up, didn't see him for a year. I moved to New York. He lived in Arizona. I went back to Arizona when I was 19 years old, drove across the country with my girlfriend, and somehow met up with my husband, who is now my husband. We dated for 2 more months, got engaged, and were married the following August. It was less than a year. And so we knew what we wanted. And it was interesting because today's Father's Day and we were talking this morning, and he said to me, I had never had an intention to get married before I got out of college. My husband was a Marine, went in the service for 4 years. So he's 3 years older than me, but he went in the service and I was already done with college, and he still had 2 years, I think, left. And we just decided to get married. And I said to him this morning, I don't think you ever shared that with me. He goes, of course I did. And I was like, really? I guess I don't remember, but I wasn't going to let him go. So it worked out. But he said that to me, that I never had any intention of getting married before I got out of college, but he did. So things change and people are more, when you find the right person and it's your right person, you will know it's your right person. I think at least that's happened for me. And I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, I'm sure that there's some self-sabotage in mine but I feel like over the last year, it's just been more awareness of like, I'm finding more things that I like about people in my life. And I'm like, okay, I like this quality of this person, like this characteristic of that person. I really like how this person behaves in this type of situation. And so maybe it's just like, and I'm just praying to God, like, hey, like, if it's not one of these people, send me someone who embodies those things, because I really, really like that. And I can see that would be really good in a partnership or, a future father, figure in my life, that kind of thing. So, or, to my children, to my future children. So it's just, getting excited about that versus like, and I get this way too. I get really hollow and I'm just like, oh, like, I just want someone to come over and snuggle with me and like hang out with me. Like, I just want a body breathing next to me that I want to be breathing, like someone that I want. I don't just want to like call a friend. And I remember this back in 2018 when I started my whole like self-love journey. when we were in the pods, like filming Love is Blind, I remember having this conversation with Kenny, actually, that I was like, yeah, I like started this whole like self-love journey. I said, and I am looking for someone. I said, but I'm like looking for my person. I don't want to just call anyone to go for a walk with me. I want to go enjoy it with my person. And I said, so I would just go for a walk by myself, or I'd go to dinner by myself, and I would go do things alone because it made me feel better. Because I was like, I'm not just like filling a void with like a friend. And although a friend would have filled my cup and everything, I just didn't want to like use someone in a sense, because essentially that's probably what I was doing. Like, that's what I'm like, oh, I'm alone or I'm lonely. Let me just call a friend. And granted, friends are great. We want them. We love them. But I don't know. It was just like kind of interesting. And I feel like I've had those similar situations recently where I'm like, I don't want to just hang out with anybody right now. I want someone that I like they just want to stare at their face on my couch, So I don't know. It's just interesting, but I feel like I try and shift because you guys know, I'm like really big into like law of attraction and things like that. Like, I try to keep my vibration in a good space. And again, kind of going back to the gratitude of like practicing that gratitude of like, wow, you know what? I really want this, while also I'm like really grateful for this alone time right now. I'm really grateful that I am in this moment right now, because in however long it is, whenever that time comes, maybe I will be craving this alone time. So it's like I try and bring myself to gratitude and in the present moment, and I'm just like reaffirming like he's on his way to me, and I'm excited about that. And yeah, did I think that I would be entering my 38th year of life and not be married or anything at this point? No. I always told my mom I didn't want to be an old mom. And here we are.
And I'm going to be an old grandma.
Yeah, exactly. So, I that stinks, but I think that.
But maybe there's a blessing in that too, because you don't know what's coming down your path. And
exactly. And no one knows.
I mean, who knows, Kelly, you could get married next year and have twins or triplets.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a possibility.
Right. So that's why I'm grateful for my alone time, because if I had like 3 screaming kids around me, I might pull my hair out.
But
love them, want babies, but
but you never know. You don't know. So I guess that, I heard you say something like you felt like you were using someone if you called them up and said, hey, I'd like to go, would you like to go to dinner with me or whatever? And a friend, male or female, whatever it is. And maybe because you were feeling a little lonely that day. Well, you know what? Stepping into your power is saying, I'm lonely today. Hey, I could use a friend right now. If you're not busy, would you like to join me for dinner?
Yeah.
Just like you're saying, communication is key. And then that person say, oh, you just call me when you're lonely. And then you can say, well, no, I don't think that's true. Or you can say, well, yeah, and I'm sorry about that. But you know what? You're the first person I thought of that I think would fill my cup right now. So maybe you'd like to join me. And if that person says, no, I'm sorry, I'm busy, I can't.
Right.
Then you have to, adjust to that. I think Kelly is very self-disclosing. And I don't think that's a bad thing, because I'm like that too. But I think as you mature and you get older, you'll realize what is going to empower you to self-disclose and what isn't.
Yeah.
And so, maybe you don't have to tell your whole history on the first date. Right. You can just have a good time and learn to like each other in a way that brings you joy and happiness and peace. Mm-hmm. And then, oh, this date went really well. You know what? Maybe we'll have another one. Let's go, dancing or whatever. I don't know, whatever you young people do these days.
Yeah.
So
no, that is really important advice. Yeah, that's true. Stepping into your power and saying, this is what I'm looking for right now. This is what I need. Yeah. I think a lot of us have.
And some guys might get scared from that because they're not mature. They're not in that level yet. Right. And that's not your person.
Well, yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah. And I've asked like, oh, my guy friends. I'm like, okay. Like sometimes I'm like, I told someone one time, I was like, I think I had a friend in town, and I did see this person, but then later on, I went and like met up with some of my guy friends, and I told another girlfriend the next day, I was like, I just needed guy attention. Like, no offense, I love my girls, but I wanted to be around my boys. I needed my boy time. And sorry that hurt the other person's feelings, that I didn't spend the whole time with them, but that's what I needed in that moment. And
so you honored yourself.
And I honored myself. And I don't think it's never about the other person. It's usually never about the other person. Like, what my actions are usually never about. Yes, of course. I don't vibe with someone's energy, but that's still choosing me. That's honoring me. If I choose to do something, not want to hang out with someone or whatever the case may be. It's not that I didn't want to hang out with that person. I did.
Right. You just needed something different than
something different. Yeah.
Right. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. But I think it is all about, a lot of people have a problem asking for help. And like you said, that's stepping into your power, is asking for help, asking, hey, will you, you're the first. I mean, how awesome is that's one of the first people that you think of to want to spend your time with when you don't want to spend your time with just anyone. Right. So that's a nice thing.
I mean, if someone called me and said, hey, Liz, I've been thinking about you, haven't seen you in 6 months. Right. And I was wondering if you'd like to go get a cup of coffee, let's just say, or whatever. I'd be like, yeah, why not? Can you do it tomorrow? Well, no, but I can do it today, or I can do it Wednesday or whatever, and try to make a positive goal to be with that person. And if they say, well, I really wanted to do it today, it's really important, then I would try to work it out that I could help that person. Yeah. And I think Kelly would do that too. So
absolutely. Okay. Two more questions and then we'll wrap this. When I first told you about Love is Blind, me going to do that, what was your initial reaction?
Are you crazy? No. What was my first reaction?
I mean, that actually may have been your first reaction, but what did you tell me?
Let me think about that for a minute. I was like, why would you do that? I said, why are you doing that? And you said to me, don't worry about it, because I'm probably not going to get picked to do this show.
You guys self-sabotage.
And that was a self-sabotage in there. And then she actually did get picked. And that blew my mind, that not because I didn't think my daughter was worthy of that, but, there's that 1% I told you about. 1%, hits all the goals, and 99% hit some of the goals. So that was a goal that she had. And I had to respect it, that she was going to be okay. But I was a little frightened when my daughter didn't call me for a few days, and I had no idea where she was. And then I get a phone call from some guy in California telling me she's on a plane to Mexico. I was like, oh my God, they could have sold her into sex trade. I don't know where she is. It was very frightening for me as a mom.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one of her reactions though, guys, was when I told her that I had moved, that I was signing the contract and everything. Actually, when I was like, yeah, I didn't tell her the whole concept I did not tell my parents the whole concept of the show until literally maybe 24 to 48 hours before I was leaving to go film the show, because I thought that they may tie me up and put me in a closet or something, because I did not mention the fact that there was going to be a wedding at the end, because I didn't think it mattered, because of the fact that I didn't think I was even going to get selected to I didn't think I was going to be actually selected to participate, but I didn't think the first handful of days when we're just speed dating that I would match with someone. So, but leading up to, I was like, okay, well, if in the event that it actually does happen, there's a wedding at the end. So if I am selected, and I thought my mom was going to respond in that way of what are you, crazy? But she didn't. Her response was, well, I mean, kind of she literally was just like, well, I mean, if that's how you're supposed to meet your person, that's how you're supposed to meet your person. And I was like, do you want me to get married that bad? I was cracking up in my head. I'm like, that was not the response I was looking for or expecting. I mean, what?
Well, and I also think it was your age. because you were what, 32?
Yeah.
And at 32, like, I mean, I was married for 10 years and had 2 kids. So I was like, at 32, if you don't know what the heck you want, nobody's going to know what you want.
Right.
And so if she had come home and said, hey, I found my person, I would be like, oh my gosh, are you serious? And if she told me, yes, she was, I would have supported her.
Right. Well, then when I told you I was engaged, did you think that?
When you got engaged, I had a foot surgery, and I was in a cast or a boot at the time. I was very uncomfortable. And I told Kelly, I'm a New Yorker. We don't make too many bones about it. But I told Kelly, if you're going to marry this person, then I will be there 100%. But you need to tell me what's going on, because if you're not, I'm not going to hobble up anywhere. But she didn't really disclose that because she was under contract. But I just had a feeling that I didn't think she was going to go through with it, because I know my daughter, and I know that she has told me how Kelly's going to be like, what is that, 27 dresses? All the old bridesmaids are wearing their old dresses. No kidding. But I know that she really would like some kind of a traditional ceremony, and not that Love is Blind wasn't going to do that, but it wasn't with all the people that we would have liked to have been able to participate in a wedding. So I kind of felt that she probably wasn't going to go through with it. So I wasn't that alarmed. But the night that I actually met Kenny and his parents, because I couldn't go anywhere, they all came here. His mother walked in and was like, what the heck is going on here? And we hit it off great, but we were all like deer in the headlights, because they left and we were like, are they just hosing us? Are they really going to go through with this? Because it sounds like they might. And his mother was like, I don't know. What do you think? And I was like, well, they're saying maybe, but are they? We don't know. And it was really, they really did their job well, the 2 of them. So, we sat around and we got to know each other in case we were going to be in-laws. Mm-hmm. But, I would have supported Kelly either way, I think, at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. Well, yeah.
But the truth be told, I'm glad it worked out the way it did, because I don't think, although I thought Kenny was a beautiful person, I knew deep down inside he wasn't her person. And she did too.
Yes.
And so that's okay. And he's a happy man, and I'm very grateful that they were able to figure that out.
Yeah, me too. Best
without too much drama.
Best decision for everyone. Right. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, is there any life advice that you, or like anything that you want to share? One last little.
I just think that life is really short, and we're on a very short journey. And when you get to be my age, you can see that journey is not as long as it used to be. Not saying that I'm going anywhere, but I feel that it's time to not sweat the small stuff and try to be joyful and peaceful and grateful for all the many blessings that we all have, because you don't know. And if Kelly turned around tomorrow and told me, Mom, I'm moving to Morocco and I'm getting married, I'd be like, well, I'm going with you, because I want her to be happy. And I would like her to meet someone someday and fulfill everything that she needs, as well as her fulfilling what he needs. So yeah, life is a journey, and don't waste your time worrying about this guy or that guy. Because if they're, like I call them yayas, if they're like, don't waste your time. Yeah, don't waste your time. I mean, if you're sitting there talking to a guy and,
that would be my biggest, I mean, I don't want to say regret, but we're going to say it. My biggest regret is wasting my time on bozos, on guys who were not ready to show up and give me what I deserved.
Right. and trying to figure out how you could get them to give you what you deserve.
Right, exactly. The fixer mentality and the people pleasing and all of that. It's like, okay, if, you know, literally if someone was like, Kelly, if you could give anyone life advice, I'd be like, yeah, freaking work with like a therapist when you're 16 years old and steady on through, because I feel like we all could use a little bit of that, because there's something, I mean, I know I've shared this story before, but someone hurt me really bad when I was 4 years old. And I swear that's why I am the way that is a reason that I was a fixer and a people pleaser. And obviously there was a lot of things that happened along the way, and some, you know, more intense situations that happened. But I feel like that was one of the first things that really impacted the way that I was and how I showed up for people. So I just feel like if you had someone to help you be like, nope, that's not it, move along, not it, move along, not it, move along, it just helps speed up the process. I mean, I pined over guys for too long, and, you know, it never helped. And I know that that's like it's a controlling thing too. You know, we want to be in control. We want to control the situation. We want to control the outcome. And when we're losing control, we spiral. And I don't want anyone to spiral. I don't want to spiral anymore. So now I think it has to be very, very natural. Yeah, like you were saying, it has to be organic, Mom. I want to meet someone and be organic. I want it to be an organic relationship. And I 100% agree with that. Yeah. And my biggest thing right now, and this is the awareness that I've had after doing some type of like self-love coaching with a woman a couple months ago, the word consistent has been my word. And so that is where the awareness is coming from. Like, okay, how is this person showing up in my life? And that could be a friend or whatever the case may be. How is this person showing up in my life? Are they consistent with me? Am I being consistent?
Thank you.
And therefore, you know, because obviously the two-way street, like that, those are the people that I'm looking for those long-term relationships with. And again, it could be a friend, or a romantic partner, either way. But I like, what is that consistency, and how does that feel in my body, that consistency? Because we did some body work, and that's what I felt was this rhythmic, harmonic, like peaceful consistency. And if the consistency is erratic behavior of not showing up and people pleasing and not giving you what deserve, that doesn't feel good in your body, like,
let's move on.
That's a big no. So, and your gut tells you everything. So
that's a hard no.
Anyways, but this could go on forever. Anyways, thank you, Mom, so much for being here. Yeah, that was great.
That was fun.
Conversation and advice. I know a lot of the listeners will get so much value from this. And if you remember to like share this episode, rate, review, subscribe, download, all the things. But thank you all so much for listening. And I hope you enjoyed hearing from my mom.
All right, ladies and gents.
All right, guys. Bye. If you loved this episode, please download, share, rate, and review. If you are ready to step into that next level version of you and grow your business and bank account, it's time to unleash your goddess magic and chase life with Kelly. You can start this epic expansion journey by diving into the Goddess Magic course bundle found at chaselifetogether.com. Please connect with me on Instagram at chaselifewithkelly. Join the Chase Life with Kelly Facebook community and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Till next time, create the life you crave, babe, and chase life with Kelly.